Borderline personality disorder. A disorder of your personality. Mr. Ducey Davis came up to me the other day and told me he had a good idea for one of my videos. I'm always thrilled when someone comes up to me and says that. It just makes my day. That schools, preschools, and so forth were banning best friends. He had to repeat that several times before I really understood what he was saying. They're banning best friends, telling children they could not have a best friend. One child says to the other child, "You're my best buddy." The teacher then scolds them, telling them that is not right, that is hurtful for them to tell, that is hurtful for everybody else around. Because you've singled out this one person as your best friend and pretty much told everybody else that you don't like them. And this was told to a 4-year-old in preschool. That 4-year-old could not understand what she had done wrong. Yet she was scolded and reprimanded and told that she was doing bad things. I think this is ridiculous, all right? My opinion of the whole banning best friends thing is that it is the stupidest fucking thing. It is the most ridiculous thing. It's almost up there with not being able to call a person male or female because they might associate themselves as being neither and may think they're some kind of fucking goat from Mars, and you've insulted them now because they look like a female and you call them female, but they're a goat from fucking Mars in a female body.
Fuck you.
Barbara Greenberg writes in a piece titled, "Should School Ban Kids from Having Best Friends?" So according to Greenberg, child after child comes to my therapy office distressed when their best friend is now given someone else that coveted title. The phrase best friend is inherently exclusive. Among children and even teens, best friends shift rapidly. These shifts lead to emotional distress and would be significantly less likely if our kids spoke of close or even good friends rather than best friends. There's an unspoken ranking system, and where there's a ranking system, there are problems. I see kids who are never labeled best friends, and sadly, they sit alone at lunch tables and often in their homes while others are out with their best friends. It's a damn travesty. You can't fight stupid, you can't argue stupid with stupid, and you usually can't make the stupid more intelligent. Why are we living in a world where everybody thinks that everybody's got to like everybody? It's a big old fucking circle jerk and everybody's invited. Fucking bubble of green jelly, fucking petroleum, fucking ourselves. I know I'm bringing the Stretch Armstrong. I was one of those children. I have a feeling that a lot of my viewers were one of those children as well, that sat alone at lunch tables. I have a feeling a lot of us spent some time eating our lunch alone, or not even eating lunch, finding something else to do during lunch so that we didn't have to sit there, or going outside to eat lunch, something. I do remember the first time I encountered the best friend thing, which is probably because of my borderline condition, because it did affect me, much like what she was saying. I was in a group of friends, probably elementary school, recess. I do believe we were over by the jungle gym. We were just kids playing whatever. And every recess, we would all play together. There was like 5 or 6 of us that would just play together. So yeah, I considered them to be my friends. I didn't play with the other kids and I didn't really like the other kids, so these were my friends. Well, one day, one of them said to the other one that they were best friends. I do believe the reason they were best friends is because they lived closer to each other. So they got to play after school as well. They were like neighbors or something. So they were best friends. At first, my feelings were hurt. They like this person more than me. Why? Ah, the tragedy, the tragedy. And I went to my therapist and I almost killed myself. Oh, never mind. No, none of that happened. I do believe my actual response was, cool, all right. Who really cares? Great for you. I thought it was cool they had a best friend. They had that bond. I thought that bond was awesome. It made me want to have a best friend. Since they had a best friend, I thought having a best friend would be awesome. And I still think having a best friend is awesome. Ducey Davis is my best friend. So anybody watching that's a friend of mine, you are not my best friend. Sorry, it's the way it is. Now, why is Ducey Davis my best friend? One, the closest friend I have to me. The friend that does the most for me. Helps me out the most. There's lots of reasons why Ducey Davis would be considered my best friend, because Ducey Davis does more than the other friends do. Is there a hierarchy in friendship? Of course. When you have friends, the friends that are going to do more for you than the ones that aren't are going to be considered a higher value. You, on the other hand, will be considered with higher value the more you do for other people. That's how we work. That's in human nature. It makes sense. There are so many dynamics that go on in human interactions with each other, which makes this whole thing ridiculous. Because if you want to ban the whole best friend thing and change the terminology, which is all it seems they want to do is change the terminology from best friend to close friend, all you're doing is changing the word. What if this kid only has one close friend? Everybody's going to feel left out because they're not considered to be a close friend. And we need to stop coddling our children. Our children need to learn how to live. All right? As a parent, it is your number one responsibility to keep them alive. Your number two responsibility is to get them ready to leave, to go out on their own and make it and survive in the world. If they live their entire life and the worst thing that ever happens to them is they feel a little hurt and rejected by the fact that Mary Sue said that somebody else was their best friend, then they have had a blessed, wonderful life. Life is hard, and there are going to be things that are far worse than that. If they can't handle somebody having a best friend that's not them, they're not going to survive. So protecting them from that is doing them no favors whatsoever. You are actually going to make it harder for them later on. We forget that we need to train our children to survive in the world. And I don't think we look at the world the way the world is. There are people out there that will kill you for no reason whatsoever. Seriously, there are. There are just psychos out there that will just stab the shit out of you because you happen to be in a certain spot. Look at all the shootings that go on. People just get shot just for being in the wrong spot at the wrong time. There are people that will manipulate you and use you. There are so many dangers out there. There's so many things that you have to be strong to survive. Yet we want to coddle our children. We want to make it easier and easier. We want to save them from that heartache. Don't. Let them have the heartache when they're young. They need it. They need to toughen the fuck up. Or else they're going to become adults that can't handle anything.
I don't like them putting chemicals in the water that turn the friggin' frogs gay. Do you understand that? Serious crap.
So one of the reasons I've not had kids is the fact that I don't believe I could raise my children the way I would want to raise my children and not have some bleeding heart motherfuckers come imposing, taking them away because they think I'm abusing them. Like that reason, if you think that reason's bullshit, that we don't need to toughen our children up, right? If you're watching this and you're thinking, Mr. BPD, you're being too harsh. You don't have children. How would you understand? And why do children need to go through this? It's unnecessary. Who trains children to have best friends? Who teaches them that? Honestly, do you know? If you know who teaches children this whole best friend thing, let me know. As far as I've been able to gather or observe, nobody's running around teaching children to have a best friend. There's no best friend movement. There's no promoting best friends. So where does this come from? Well, if nobody's telling children about best friends, then this must be something that children are coming up with on their own. That their brains are functioning and they're learning things, and well, they've learned the word what best is. They have a concept of best, and they've learned what friends are, and now they're combining them to have best friends. The children are just doing this on their own. Now, if the kids are doing this on their own, and all of them are doing it, or maybe it catches on. One puts it together and says it, and it just catches on. But I'm just saying that this is coming from the children. It comes from the children. I don't think parents are telling them about best friends. I don't think parents get involved until their kid comes home one day and is either super excited that they're someone's best friend or bummed out because they thought this person was their best friend and they find out that they're not. I think that is the first time that a parent actually addresses the best friend thing with children. My belief is you can't screw with nature. It's not a wise thing to do. And you can't. And I'm going to give you the reasons why. Especially with children, you can't screw with nature. This is the way that our brains develop and we do relationships. That is why it goes on. That's why kids have best friends. It's a natural part of being human. We have to go through that. The reason I say that is because we're not taught to do it. We do it on our own. So it has to be part of the social hierarchy, the way that it has to be an evolutionary thing of how we've learned to communicate and get along with people. Let's say we want to go ahead, we want to change nature, we want to stop them. There's no way to explain to a 4-year-old this concept. They don't get it. They are too young. We are trying to put into their heads things that are beyond their comprehension at that point. What they do know is that they like this person way more than the other people. That's what they understand. It's very simple. This person more feeling towards, these people this feeling. So the one I care about more, best friend. You scold them, that is going to start making them question themselves. That is probably one of the worst things you could do. I understand how a child can misunderstand things that adults do and tell them. My dad was a drunk that liked to beat me and my mom. Did I understand that concept? No. Did adults explain it to me? Yes. There were many times adults explained it to me, telling me it was not my fault. There was nothing I could do to stop it. They tried to beat it into my head and let me see it from an adult point of view. I could not understand that, all right? So what did I do? I internalized it. I made it me. Me, me, me. You know what kids are? They're selfish. They are me creatures. They don't understand anything else at this point. And you cannot make them understand anything else at this point. It is something that comes with age. The older you get, then you start to realize that there are other facets out there, that it's not just me, me, me. When you're young, you don't. And no matter how many adults tell you this, you're not going to understand it or get it. Just like I couldn't understand what arthritis was like when I was in my 20s. But just recently I had an arthritis attack, and dear God, now I understand it. I would not be able to go explain to my 20-year-old self what it's like, and I know me pretty damn well. You would think I would be able to make me understand, but I wouldn't, because it is a concept that would be beyond my comprehension. So all we're going to do is screw these kids up and make them very confused. They are going to internalize it. They are going to think that they did something wrong. So they're being scolded because they said this person was their best friend, which means that having feelings for somebody must be wrong. Liking this person more than this person is something that is wrong with them, is a defect that they need to stop doing. Now, since the positive emotion of really liking this one person is what got him in trouble, they're probably not going to decide the best course of action is to like everybody equally. They're probably going to think, well, liking this person is what got me in trouble. So we're going to raise people that just don't give a shit about other people, because when they did, they were scolded. That is my argument for it. I want to know your opinion. I would love to debate this with y'all. So if you were up for debate, or if you think that I am just the shit and know what's best, let me know in the comment section below. If you would like to become my best friend, just go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We are going for 500, 1,000, 5,000 subscribers, then the world. And once you've all subscribed, you'll all be my best friend. Hit that subscribe button and guarantee yourself being my best friend. Until next time, keep on keeping on. And that was when I knew that I had to fuck that goat. Because if I didn't, nobody was ever going to respect me again. I fucked that goat for 4.5 hours before I realized it wasn't even the right goat.